now. This is Coin Edition, your crypto news destination. But what is India's crypto trading destination? Well, in most cases, it is WazirX. And today we have been fortunate enough to have WazirX's Vice President, Mr. Rajagopal Menon, with us. Without further ado, let's get into it and welcome Mr. Menon. Hello. Hello,
Thank you
Mr.
so much
Menon.
for having me, Sneha.
Thank you. So let's dive in this conversation and start understanding your journey first. So where did WazirX start? What were the initial roadblocks and how did it catapult into what it is today?
So it's a very interesting story. The founders, Nishal Shetty, was always a serial entrepreneur. So around 2016, 17, he heard of Bitcoin. And he wanted, because he's a very hands-on technology, he wanted to understand it. And he tried to buy it. And he's a techie himself. And the experience was so pathetic and it was so broken that he said that if I, being a techie, can't buy Bitcoin, imagine the plight of a common user who wants to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that was a problem statement, and he wanted to make Bitcoin accessible to every Indian. So that still is the mission and the vision of WazirX. So we started way back in 2017. And as soon as we launched, and within a couple of weeks, RBI came out with this rather infamous memo asking banks not to work with crypto exchanges. Right. So that was our first brush with regulations, and how it can actually work against you. But instead of just lying down and dying, what we decided to do was try to figure out how to use the situation to our advantage. What we did was that we created a platform called peer-to-peer. So if you couldn't buy it through banks, you could actually buy it from someone else who already had crypto with them. So that was the beginning of the P2P revolution in India. And that was how WazirX survived the first crypto winter that it faced, and went on to thrive and become India's largest crypto exchange and most trusted crypto exchange.
Right. Can you now take us through the developments that you're going through with WazirX right now, after facing these roadblocks and after becoming what you're now, which is India's largest crypto trading exchange? So what are you looking forward to? What is your way ahead from here?
The way ahead is, frankly, what we're trying to do is we are in a very interesting spot at this point of time.
Right.
The scale and the scope that is there in India is tremendous. At the same time, what we are witnessing is very excessive taxation on the sector. So what the government did in 2022 was that it imposed a 30% tax on all crypto profits. And this, even if you make losses, you cannot set it off. So there's no set off possible for losses. And two was, there is a TDS that was actually imposed on crypto. Every time you sell a crypto, you have to actually deposit TDS with the government. On the face of it, it looks really harmless, but what it did is that it sucked the liquidity out of all exchanges in India. So most crypto traders, or the high-end traders, the high-frequency traders, the big traders, they've all left India and moved and taken their volumes abroad. So which is why things are not in a very, very happy state of mind at this point of time. But hopefully things will improve in the near future.
Right. So getting a little more into WazirX's journey so far. Now, last year, WazirX faced some challenges with the ED freezing some accounts and the anti-money laundering concerns coming up. I have two sections of this question. First is, how did you deal with the situation then? And the second part is, WazirX has seen a surge in its native coins value, right? WRX's value. So how are you dealing with the speculation that it will rise further in this year? And the first part being, how did you deal with the situation then? Because the reason I am tagging these two questions together is when the challenges happened, when the ED froze the bank accounts and stuff, there were a lot of users who left WazirX. But now with the value surging, there are a lot more of users who are coming in. So how was the situation then, and how's the situation now?
So Sneha, let me answer the first question first, logically.
Yeah, yeah,
The issue that happened last year had to do with something called the Chinese loan apps problem. So
right.
what happened was that there were a series of
Finance.
bad actors that gave loans to a lot of Indians, and what they did was that they used crypto exchanges to remit the ill-gotten wealth abroad.
Mhm.
So what happened was that WazirX was just one of the many exchanges that were used to facilitate these transactions. So, there were banks involved because the money came to WazirX from banks. Obviously, there were other
Hmm.
crypto exchanges involved, but because WazirX is the largest crypto exchange, we always have a target written on our backs. So that's what happened. In fact, every single exchange in India, were a part of this investigation. We are happy to say that the investigation is happening with ED, and all the bank accounts are unfrozen, and it's business as usual for WazirX. So we have to understand that there are no regulations. There were no regulations in place at this point of time for the entire industry. So whatever we were doing with respect to compliances was purely voluntary. So, but we had the best of breed KYC systems in place. We made sure that all our T's were dashed, and our I's were dotted,
Yeah.
as say, and we followed the best practices that crypto exchanges are doing the world over. Now, with respect to the second question, why is the WRX token actually so volatile? It's actually the nature of cryptocurrency, world over.
In general.
Bitcoin was at 67,000, just last year, and today no one is willing to buy it at 30,000. So that is how the cryptos work.
Yeah.
No one knows how it works, but it's got a mind of its own, and it's a wild ride when you're in this space.
Yeah, true. Now, moving a little outside the token and the trading field. So, WRX, WazirX NFT, the marketplace that closed recently, right? And
Correct. Correct.
now, due to whatever reasons, we would come to that later. But what are the other revenue platforms that WazirX is looking at right now to expand?
So we are very clear that we are not going to get out of the crypto space, whatever we
Okay,
do. So our vision and our vision is to make crypto accessible to every Indian. So
right.
we are not going to move beyond crypto. That much is clear. So we have a lot of plans and a lot of projects in the pipeline. You mentioned the NFT marketplace. That is one of them. There is also a DEX that is built and that is ready, but unfortunately, because of the compliances that are at this point of time, we can't. We are waiting and watching and figuring out how the entire situation pans out. So we have big plans for the space, but it all depends upon regulation. We cannot be an organization that is out of tune of regulations, and right now it's a very gray area, and the situation is evolving every day as we speak. So once we have clear guidelines in this space, I'm sure that we will unleash a new product after another, and make key contributions to the space, which is the vision of everybody in this company.
Right. All right. Now, as you just said, WazirX is trying to keep up with all of the regulations as well as be the best in the market. I would like to know, how is this race of being the best in the market like? Because you have so many competitors in this field, and every day there's a new exchange opening up. Every day there's a new coin listing in the exchanges. So how is WazirX keeping up with all of this cutthroat competition?
You're right, Sneha, the competition is pretty bad. Also, what has happened is that because of the new taxation norms, it's become very difficult for industry players to actually make serious money. So most of us are just surviving. Uh, Unfortunately, what is going to happen is that a lot of smaller exchanges will face a very rough time ahead. Unless things improve very dramatically in the next 6 to 8 months, there is going to be a bloodbath in this space. So what we are trying to do is actually reduce costs the best we can. So you have to understand, Sneha, that how crypto exchanges make money or any exchange makes money is when people transact. So when the volumes are high, we all make money. So when when Bitcoin was at 67, 69,000, we made a lot of money, which is why we can survive at this point of time. Our competition is well funded, and they have a lot of coffers. We've seen a couple of bull runs, so we are in a comfortable space. I won't say that we are too comfortable. So the option for us is to actually reduce costs and actually to scale up our product. So when the last during the last bull market, we realized that our servers couldn't cope with the demand. So servers went down because so many people wanted to buy at that point of time. So during the bear market, it's the best time to build. That's what we are doing. We are building up our capacity because sometime next year in April, there is going to be the Bitcoin halving, which is traditionally followed by the bull market. And everybody in this industry believes that the next bull market is going to be a really very big one. So we are building a capacities in place, making sure that we don't have faced the problems that we faced during the last bull market, and ensuring that the consumer has a really good experience when he comes to buy crypto as soon as he comes to WazirX.
Right. This is kind of out of curiosity. Is WazirX planning to go outside India?
No, not at this point of time, Sneha. So you have to understand how the Indian market is. So we have 140 crore Indians, as Modi ji is very fond of saying. So
Yeah.
that's the entire market. Now, if you break it down, how many people have a demat account? I think the last number we heard was 12 crores. 12
Yeah,
crore
very
demat
less.
accounts are there. Those are the people who actually trade in stocks or mutual funds. So that you can call that the total addressable market. At this point of time, WazirX has about 15 million users on its platform. The total industry, you can put it as between 30 to 45 million. So look at the scope that is there for the entire industry to grow. We are at 30 to 35 million, and the ceiling is 12 crores. So that is how much you can reach at this point of time. That is the space for the entire industry to grow. So there is no point getting out of India when you have such a huge addressable market available within your boundaries. Plus, we are Indians. The product is built for India, built in India. So and we genuinely believe that crypto is going to make a really big difference in all our lives. So we are very, very clear that we are going to remain in India and build for India.
Right. So, as we have been speaking, you spoke a lot about the regulations. You spoke about how Narendra Modi is, he wants the country people to go digital, to use digital money. Now, would you emphasize a little bit on the regulations around crypto and how it is snowballing right now into something bigger, let's say, to what it is now, especially in the Indian landscape?
So what you're seeing, Sneha, in the last 2 years is that a lot of things have happened. In the last budget, there was taxation that was actually implemented. Just in March this year, you had crypto bought under PMLA. So
Yeah.
which is again a very big thing, because it's almost like making sure that we are compliant. All we have to submit reports to the FIU, which is the Financial Intelligence Unit. So all those reporting formats are in place. We have key best practices that they are laying out for us to follow, the reporting that we have to do, suspicious transactions, training, and so on and so forth. So through taxation and through this PMLA that has been imposed on crypto, we are almost seeing India is taking baby steps towards regulation. We might not call it that, but that's what's happening when you impose taxation and when you impose regulation on the industry. These are just the first 2 or 3 steps. So you'll see a lot of more action happening. So governments the world over are waking up to the scale of crypto, and they know that it's going to transform the internet as we know it. It's not going to be if, it's going to be when.
Yeah.
So it's inevitable. We are just going to, it might take slightly longer than most of us anticipate, but it's going to get there.
So, in an interview last year with Forecast, I have read you saying that WazirX is trying to implement digital rupee in its system. So I would like to
Correct.
know the progress with that now.
So, Sneha, you have to understand that this is a pilot. So, what the government has done is that it has invited key banks, private
Yeah.
sector banks, to actually participate in this pilot or this experiment. So CBDC, you have to understand there are two parts to it. One is the wholesale CBDC, which is going to be between banks for settlement of transactions and so on and so forth. And one is going to be the retail CBDC that ordinary consumers like you and me will actually use. So the pilot for the retail CBDC, which is what we are all interested in, has just been rolled out. I think it started in January or December last year, and January 2023. And the way it happens is that the RBI invites key stakeholders to actually participate in it. Just yesterday, there was actually a big report that RBI is now pushing banks to actually push for CBDC wallets. So as and when the scope and the scale of that experiment widens and the RBI invites more and more parties, we will be more than happy to work with the RBI to actually integrate CBDC into the exchange. But as of this time, we haven't had any clear mandate or clear instructions or even clear visibility as to how we can go about doing it, because it's just now limited to key banks, and the RBI wants to study it, how it works, and then take the learnings and expand the scope a little later. So when it happens, we'll be more than happy to actually integrate it into our exchange.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the discussion. But here's the interesting part. Now, as you know, that there's a lot of skepticism with crypto adoption in the world, let alone India. How do you see the future going from here ahead? Because as you said, there are only a very tiny portion of the entire crowd who has a demat account to begin with. So where is crypto space heading with this, I wouldn't say slow, but this laid back uh, adoption system, or adoption rate rather?
So, Sneha, it's a very interesting question. When a new product comes, it's the most common pastime is to dish it. So,
Yeah,
when the telephone was invented, people used to say, "Why would I need a telephone to actually? What is the use of a telephone?"
yeah, I
And
can
there's this
write a
very
letter
famous
instead.
correct, and
Yeah.
write a letter. And then there is this very famous interview of Bill Gates trying to explain the internet, and the host keeps saying, he says, you can see movies on it. So the host tells him, what are DVDs for? And he says, you can play music. He says, no, you have MP3 players. So we often underestimate what technology can actually do. So you had the web, the waves of internet. You had the first wave of internet was internet 1.0, where you had it was only read only internet, where you could just consume content. Web 2 was Facebook and Twitter, where you can actually contribute to it. You put up your photographs, you posted your opinion. Web 3 is actually the internet of money. So the most critical aspect here is that you sign in with your wallet. And you have to understand that the way the internet, the monetization models are modeled at this point of time is that you have giant intermediaries like Facebook, YouTube, and so on and so forth, who say they're partnering with you, but retain 50% of all the revenues that your content creates. Now, Web3 can actually append all that. Now, Web3, you can actually keep up to 98% of all the content that you generate. So the way forward is going to be that you're going to use Web2, YouTube, and NFT marketplaces, Instagram, to act for advertising purposes, and people who actually want to consume your product or who want to actually buy your product will actually buy it on Web3. Now, if you have to understand that there was a recent interview where the YouTube CEO Neil Mohan was saying that there are about 7.5 lakh creators in India, content creators in India. So we all
That's
know that the
massive.
largest YouTube channel today is T Series. Okay, so Indians are, everyone is on YouTube. Content is being created for Indians. So that is why you have all those foreign, people actually commenting on Indian content, all those foreign commentators and so on and so forth. Why? Because they want the eyeballs, which is why they make more money. So as you have more content being created by Indians, for the Indian diaspora, you need to have a fair content sharing, a revenue sharing mechanism in place. And Web3 fixes that. So this is a giant, this is a very big play for India, because you have, the biggest problem that is facing India is unemployment. You have millions of young, educated young people who have a mobile phone, who are extremely creative, but who don't have a job. So why can't you create content? It's the best way to actually earn a living. Right now, it's restricted to a certain niche. But why can't you have Bhojpuri content or Assamese content or Ladakhi's content? where you get paid, and if you can get 5 to 10,000 rupees a month, for
That's
every piece
good
of content that
money.
you create, it's brilliant, right? So we are underestimating the scale and the scope of Web3, and we are looking at it only from the lens of Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, but it's much more bigger than that. It is the internet of money. So 10 years later, when you and I will be having this discussion, it would be a dramatically transformed market landscape.
Yes, I would be looking forward to that conversation. This was Sneha,
Thank you.
and stay tuned with Coin Edition for more crypto updates.